I think we can start the our first attempt here in this lonely, dilapidated theater here in Arkology, where I and Vender were asked by our generous benefactor, aka the founder, aka Dankert Lexicon.
Hater. Oh,
What?
sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes. So yeah, we're gonna talk about movies that our founder wants to have us play in this theater the moment it is rebuilt, whenever that will be. Otherwise, there are some moldy pillows where you can sit on as the stuff is being refurbished. But yeah, there are also still some predators, but they're being cleared out as we speak. So don't worry about that. What else
If,
do we
if,
have? Yes.
I don't know. I was just going to tell the viewers, if you hear gunshots, that's just the predators being taken care of.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, the first movie we're gonna talk about is one reel that the founder brought us. A movie from some plane somewhere called "When the Day the Earth Stood Still," from their year of 1955. Yeah, let's just get straight into it. What are your thoughts on this, Fender? Did you enjoy it?
Um, I really can't say I didn't enjoy it because it's such an amazing. Well, it's an amazing piece of movie work in itself, yes, but also theatrical work. I am a person that really enjoys old school movies just for the practical effects that go into them, that the effort that goes into them. Nowadays, everything is just done with CGI, which is just so extremely boring. I mean, yeah, it looks good, but come on, just look at that robot. Have you? It's literally just a person in a really bad costume. It's the epitome of a B movie.
Yes, I'm gonna start the slideshow, so people get an impression of the incredible how to say this, the incredible props at work here. So we're really talking about like the early days of pulp science fiction. Um, some of my favorite science fiction is actually from this era, and I enjoyed it way more than I assumed I would. I'm really turning about on watching old science fiction in that regard, because I watched the Quartermass Experiment with some members of the Discord, and I really enjoyed that film. That was by the BBC. This one was by 20th Century Fox, and I'm really digging it. This type of science fiction, and one thing I really appreciate it is easygoing. It's something you can. I made the mistake of watching the first third of the remake of this film, The Day of the Earth Stood Still, with Keanu Reeves, and oh my god, it's like. It's such a cringe fest, that film.
We do not speak of that movie.
Yeah, we will not speak of it much further. However, the benefit of such remakes is it does make you appreciate the old one much further, because it's a very well, most of the sci-fi in this era, it is like a lot of people sitting in rooms and talking. And
It has aged very well.
yes, even though it's mostly, and the same goes for example, Godzilla has a lot of such scenes too, where it's like generals talking in conference rooms, scientists talking in laboratories, doctors talking in hospital rooms, and not much really is happening. Here it is also has a lot of scenes with common people who are not scientists or anything like that, but they kind of get involved. We're going to talk about it a little later. But mostly it seems like what you're seeing on the screen right now, just like people in radio rooms talking about they're seeing things that they do not understand, and I really like it. The Quartermass Experiment is very much like this as well. And it's really easygoing, and I really appreciate it because it got me hooked for some reason, whereas the 2008 version just made me cringe. as they tried to throw as much stuff at the screen as they possibly could. I suspect they had some American Army vouchers left that they needed to spend on, because they... it's ridiculous how much military equipment is here. Like in the first scene when the UFO lands. Before we let's talk a little bit about the premise of the film, which I would summarize thusly. One day a UFO lands in the middle of Washington DC, and there is this alien that comes to talk to humanity. He basically demands he wants to speak with all the world leaders because he has something so important to tell them, he cannot tell it to a single person. When that does not work because none of the world leaders want to talk to each other, the Russians want that this conference is being held in Moscow, the British do not want this, they want it to be held in Washington, etc. So that's a no-go. So then he goes to speak to the world's most prestigious scientists. That's basically the rest of the film.
Well, he goes in disguise.
Yes, that is the part we'll talk about. In the first films, like, we've got this introduction that this UFO is coming. And like we get all these shots of people all around the world, and radio presenters all around the world, like this man on the screen right now of the BBC. If you got Kolkata radio, for some reason India is very prominent in this film when it comes to scenes around the world. The
movie is, for its age, very inclusive.
Yeah, it's... Well, or maybe it's just us being very prejudiced because we're always being told that, all these people were invisible.
I know, but when you look at it, it's not as bad as it's made to be.
No, I've got the feeling they needed to smuggle in the black actors, though, or I should say extras. It does feel that they had to smuggle them in. Because there's like one scene in the beginning where the crowd is gathering around the baseball fields where the UFO is landing, and you get the shots of all these onlookers, like a lot of civilians there. Like you've got some I think they're Pershing tanks, like 2 Pershing tanks, and all these military guys, and then you've got all these civilians who are, well, they're not being sent away, right? Which is funny because I saw the scene in the 2008 version. Then it's just all military and, attack helicopters, not tanks, because they were probably not allowed to drive on the grass. But it's the same field, by the way, in the 2008 version. So there's like Humvees with machine guns and all these GIs and, a whole horde, a whole army of police vehicles. And like it's all... Yeah.
Well, I want to say, putting a movie like this in the modern era really, if they're trying to make a remake, at least keep it era appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Because it's supposed to be like in the modern era, so I have not watched the
I know that it's in the modern era, but when you look at it, it's a lot more. When the original, it's a lot more. Well, we can't say retro futuristic. It's in that time period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's really a movie about the whole Cold War and the ridiculousness of the whole Cold War, which is also the conclusion of the film. When you get to learn, he finally gets to talk.
The whole movie is a big peace message, basically.
It kind of is, but it isn't like in your face. What I like about the main character, what's his name again? Cladu?
Oh god, the fact that we forgot this.
It is like
Klaatu.
Yeah, so at first I didn't even heard it properly because it's such a, it's a name you spit out.
True, but then again, it has one of the most famous lines in history attached to it. Klaatu Barada Niktu.
Yes.
Nikto, however you want to pronounce it. Everybody pronounces it a bit differently.
Which is apparently quoted again in Army of Darkness.
It is.
Yeah, so yeah.
Ash is gonna say the N-word.
That's actually a reference to this movie.
Right. Say the words. Klaatu! Barata!
Also, what I liked about the film was that, for example, when Claudio escapes from the hospital, he all of a sudden wears this like very stylish 50s suit. And the first thing that went to my mind, how the hell did he get those clothes?
Probably synthesized them with his space doogly
No,
wooglies.
it's explained. He has.
It is?
Yes, he has a
I
note
can't
on his
remember
sleeve that says that it's from the cleaners. That he stole it from the cleaning department of the hospital.
One moment, isn't he all about peace?
Yeah, well, he that's that. Yeah, well, he borrowed it, you know.
But did he
For
ever
the-
give it back?
Well, he gets shot, so I don't think the honor wants it back.
Oh, well.
You know. Anyway, so yeah, that was explained. And there was another scene, you know, spoilers. We're gonna talk a bit spoilers here, where
Yes.
he turns off all the electricity in the world. And in the
Yes.
world, you know, where it's the moment where the movie gets its title from, because everything comes to a standstill. And the moment that happened, I thought, well, okay, he's trying to scare people by doing this. Just would suck if you were in an airplane. But
Oh.
then, a minute later, it is announced that everything is affected apart from airplanes, hospitals, and other essential services. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did, which is a bit funny, but well, I mean, he's about peace, so
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's one of those things you're like,
Well, they really fucked everything in this movie. Like, there's no loose ends, at least.
Yeah, they thought about everything. Like, okay, Claudio just killed every person ever on an airplane. That's, oh no, he didn't. It's like, okay, that's a bit far-fetched, but I understand why they did it. So it's like, okay, movie, I'm gonna give you this one, you know. But yeah, like you said, there are very few loose ends. As for the characters, I really enjoyed the characters. Like, they're very credible. It also tries to paint a picture of the world itself that is like divided. People are not just necessarily wrong. Like at the beginning of the film, where some government official is speaking to Claudio in the hospital, he's like, "Well, it's complicated, you know. it's complicated."
Maybe just take a moment to step aside from the plot to talk about the music in the movie, which uses one of my favorite instruments ever, the theremin, which is so underrated.
Yeah, they're in the beginning. You mean completely in the beginning of the film?
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a
Please
lot
talk
more.
about the music, because I barely do it. I barely pay attention to that.
Well, the music is that's what I call a voice crack. But the music in the movie really adds to the scenery and just general portrayal of the world. You can see how it flows with the emotions of the characters to some aspect, but it also flows with the camera angles, the speed of the scene that's given. It's something that nowadays is lacking in movies. Not in every movie, but in quite a lot of movies, where the main aspect is put into the movie action and not the audio action. Well, yes, audio effects, I know, but that's not the same thing as having something composed
Yeah, well, what
exactly
I
for that.
noticed, especially with the 2008, it's all based on, you know, the fact that it's supposed to be this cinematic experience, and people and the viewers have like sound all around, you know, and that's why it probably has, you know, so much characters just shouting at shouting at each other. And this is a very not necessarily quiet movie, but you don't have like people shouting at one another. Everyone is very, well, not necessarily calm, but like the terror that the people are going through is portrayed by how nervous everybody is. And some people are saying, well, we don't know what they want. They might be friends, they may be foes. Others say, no, he must be exterminated. And the others like, well, he could be a Russian agent. It's not literally said, but it's the one character goes like, it's not an alien. He's from another country, and we all know what country we're talking about. So I really like those nods and just the sense of that historical climate, rather than moralizing about how horrible that we are in this situation. So yeah, which also would bring us immediately to the conclusion of the film, in which Cladu explains what he is trying to warn the people for. But yeah, you any thoughts on that?
I mean, the big warning in itself isn't... Well, it is a warning, but it's not the type of warning that you'd expect when somebody's like saying, "Oh, I've got something important to say." Initially, I'm sure when people watched it the first time, they were maybe thinking he's going to be talking about, "Oh, there's a big danger coming," or something in those, like...
Yeah, well, I mean, on one hand, it was like, oh, maybe he's warning that they're gonna lay down a intergalactic railway, something like that, like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which we can also talk in the future on, the miniseries.
Yes, but still it managed to... Well, it was a surprise, but it's a good one.
Yes.
Because it's... he didn't want to warn them as in... They are in danger, but he wanted to warn them in the way that they're endangered by themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the robot is not gonna...
quick spoilers for the people who are listening. We'll edit the moment in of the spoilers in the post production, I suppose.
Well,
so the warning is that the robot that is with him is basically a part of an army of robots that, when people are threatening the peace, the robots go after them and destroy them, essentially. And that's not necessarily a problem for Earth, but they will take like nuclear-powered spaceships into space. And they are afraid they might use their nuclear weapons on other civilizations that will be noticed by the robots. And then when that happens, the robots will essentially come and destroy humanity. That is essentially the warning.
Pretty much, to sum it up.
Yeah. Spoilers over.
But yes.
So it has a most definitely a kind of anti-nuclear message at one end, but also this...
The Cuban Missile Crisis, that was the 1960s, right?
Yeah. 1960s.
So, I mean, it came a bit early.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's I mean, the Cold War era is such a strange period. I mean, the whole process was called... They had a name for it, called mutually assured destruction. That was the idea behind the entire Cold War.
Yeah,
and that spells mad. So that is literally what they called it, mad. And but it was like, well, if we don't do it, I mean, the Russians will nuke us,
I know, but that also reminds me. There was this one Russian officer who actually stopped it all from happening. Yeah.
Yes, yes. That was
I
a
forgot his name, but
nuclear submarine
yeah, the
operator.
submarines were about to fire the missiles, and it needed three confirmations, three approvals, and he said, "No, we're not gonna do it."
Yeah, I don't know the exact details, but as I understand it, there was a false warning,
Yeah,
and
the
yeah, and he
submarines were
said
about to
no,
fire, and it needed three approvals.
something like that. Yes, and he
Yeah.
said no. That man is, and thus he saved the human race by doing so. And,
Is there a movie about him?
I don't know.
Not
I would
really.
have to look up his name, but
Alexander something, like every Russian. Alexander Kalasnok. What do I know? Alexander Kalashnikov. What do I know? Russian names are. I should be familiar with them, but believe me, I'm
see.
not.
Russian submarine.
Where did you get that keyboard all of the sudden, Bonsford? What is this?
Yeah,
You
well,
can just whip out the keyboard out of
it
nowhere.
lay her under a chair, okay?
Of course, and where did the computer come
Yeah.
from? What is this?
Let's see. This data slate says, is this the correct one?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Valentin Savitsky was his name.
Told you, all the same.
Yeah. And yeah, there also apparently was a vice. Was he? Let's see. But yeah.
He was a general.
Let's see. It apparently this happened. Okay, it's a long story, but it suggested that it is that happened during the Cuba crisis. Really?
Yeah, the Cuban Missile Crisis. Cuban Missile
Jesus.
Crisis.
Was it that close? I knew it was close, but wow.
No?
Yeah, well, there was also a matter of a bear that wandered into a nuclear launch site, and people. So there was a breach alarm, and people thought it was an attack on the nuclear missile silo. Fortunately, they, well, as you can guess, they didn't launch the missile, but they were close because they thought they were seriously under attack, and then it turned out to be a lost bear. It's there are a couple of other situations like that where it's like just some stupid thing and they nearly push the button. It's insane.
Well, we can be happy that did not happen. Although, can we be happy that did not happen?
Well, let's say yes, because I
Can
do quite enjoy life at the moment. So,
Do you?
I still have a book to finish, okay?
Would you have even started that book?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah. Actually, this is also one of the
The
teams
planet would be off better without us. Also, we're talking about a planet we don't even reside on. What is this?
Yeah, the planet does not care. The planet will live happily up to about 5 million billion years into the future.
I like how we started
with or
this.
without trees.
I like how we started this podcast about, we're in this different plane where Earth doesn't exist, we're not on Earth, and now we're suddenly on Earth. Oh, wow, would you look at this?
Yes, well,
Continuity!
we'll do our best to stay as much in universe as possible, but I used to live on Earth, man. I used to. And then,
I used to live in a world similar to Earth. It just
yeah, then Yellowstone Park happened,
yeah.
Yeah, what can I say?
The problem with my universe was that everyone was just not reproducing.
Yeah.
That wasn't really helping there, but still.
And they just stopped reproducing. Okay. Well.
They were like, they reached this mental plane of, well, I mean, this works, but still, how are we gonna reproduce? Do you wanna They were doing the same thing that pandas are doing right now. They just don't wanna do it. They're like,
You come from a world of panda people?
Well, panda-minded people.
Oh god, that sounds like no, I'm not going there. Let's
Let's leave that to our Mr. Lotus / Mr. Bear. Wink, wink, mouth.
comment. Okay.
Wait, wait.
Yes, yes. Mr. Lotus is our neighbor. Anyway,
Yes, the
so
log
yeah, the day
neighbor.
the Earth stood still. Um,
Yes.
do we have much to talk about? Like, well, the characters. Let's talk about the characters. First of all, I really like Cladu.
Klaatu,
Klaatu, I
please.
really like him. He's a very sympathetic character.
Yeah.
As I explained before, he is really trying to save lives and not take them. He is not a. I also love early in the movie where he says, "Well, I need to warn everyone," and the guy says, "No, no, no, it can't be done." Hey, listen, dude. I don't wanna make it sound like I'm threatening you, but the world depends on it. So, the small things like that, and also how he goes about stuff, like he goes undercover, and then also how he deals with the professor. I forgot his name, something German, I think.
Uh, wasn't he supposed to be playing Albert Einstein?
No, he wasn't Albert Einstein. But
It was
maybe a
something
character.
German. I'm very certain.
Yeah, it was a German. I don't know if he was an existing.
Wait, look, I'm just
physicist or
gonna do
not.
what you did and whip out a magical keyboard under my chair that was just sitting there in the monitor, and let's see what is it.
But yeah, he was working. That particular professor was working on a solution for a certain problem, and he wasn't home at the time. But he had that
Professor Barnhart.
Barnhart. Yes, that was him. I don't know what. I don't know what made him so special. That
Well, Klaatu came to him and solved a math equation that was pretty much impossible, and thus gained his trust.
yes, yes, that was a calling card to get his attention. That so I really liked how he went about that. Um, leaving
Maybe
that calling
just
card. Also, something I noticed. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I think it was. When he entered the professor's room, did you notice the photo of Friedrich Nietzsche on the wall?
bloody hell, I think I did not.
Or was it Nietzsche? Let me think. It would make sense. I think it was his photo. Or Freud.
I'm looking at
No,
it
it was
right now.
probably Freud. There was a picture of Freud on the wall. Yeah, it was Freud. Yeah, but the moment he.
Oh wait. All that aside, I know we can. We did, said we were not going to talk about the 2008 movie,
No, okay.
but it has John Cleese in it.
Yes, it does. I don't know what role he plays, but I
He
know
played
he's
the
in it.
professor.
Oh no. What? Really?
Yes.
Oh, damn. What? Okay. Well, I only gonna watch the 2008 movie just to see how bad it gets. I think the main actress is also one of the cast of Firefly. I'm not sure.
Thing.
Yeah, and Keanu Reeves, who has a
Yeah,
stigma. Yeah.
Who cares about him anymore? He's been overhyped for so many years now. Nothing against him. He seems like a really nice guy, but still,
Yeah. He
the
seems
only
very
community
based.
has really ruined him.
I don't know.
Right? You're
Anyway, what
breathtaking. No,
bothers
you're
me about
breathtaking.
it that it starts with him. I assume that he is the Gladu character, and he gets a stigmata at the beginning of the film. Yeah, so he's a normal guy who's apparently somewhere in North Pole or something. It's not specified. Something snowy. It might as well be Alaska or anywhere in Canada, as far as I know. But yeah, he finds like this glowing orb, and then the globe explodes, and he wakes up with a stigmata, which seems to be like the fantasy of every Hollywood star ever. So,
Oh well.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I really like the characters. That's the highlight of this film for me, especially like the boy. What's he called? Bobby, I think he was called.
Bobby,
Yeah.
Bobby
Yeah.
something. Wait, let me check.
Yeah.
Bobby Benson.
Bobby Benson, yes, and his
Bobby
mother.
Benson.
Those are the other two main characters.
And Helen
basically.
Benson.
Yes, Bobby and Helen. And yeah, Bobby really bonds with Klaatu at some point. Explains him a bit how the world works. Klaatu also explains that his people use diamonds as currency.
That's. I want to be there.
Well,
Bling.
I mean, blood diamonds were not a big hot topic issue back then. So I think now that would be considered to be a bad thing, but all right. So yeah, I really like the character of Bobby and his relationship with Klaatu. Of course, Bobby does not know Klaatu is an alien for the majority of the film.
But he does agree with, like, the chemistry between them is...
It's very good.
I have to be honest. The movie is a bit unrealistic in the aspect that at the beginning they're like extremely protective after they find out, oh, there's an alien around. Like, the parents are really freaked out, but Helen just lets her child talk to this random man.
Well, it is suggested. I mean, I agree with you for the most part, but it is suggested that it's already been a couple of days by then.
Ah, well, in that case, yes.
So it's not like, well, I did have that reaction when because she wants to go out with her boyfriend. So Helen is a widow. Her husband died in World War II. There's a very nice scene where Bobby and Klaatu
Did he fall off the watchtower?
God damn it, you had to take it there, didn't you? Anyway.
Hey, you mentioned World War II. You can't have me on the show without making a World War II joke.
Alright. But, yeah, so there's this nice scene where they visit Arlington Cemetery, where they visit the father's grave. Yeah, I like it. I really like that relationship, and that Bobby then discovers that he is Klaatu, and he has the robot knock out two of the guards.
Oh, and may we just talk about the character of Gort, the robot?
Yeah, I was just talking about that. I mean, he is very important.
And the actor playing him is doing a good job. In the costume.
I mean, it's a miracle they made that costume move.
Oh, bloody hell. What is it made of?
I have no idea.
Wait, I'm gonna look at it with my magical computer that I just created.
But it looks like, I don't know. It looks like it could have been made of concrete as far as I care. It looks like a bloody statue. I mean, it has no joints, I think. It's just, I assume it's kind of foam and latex. So it could move without looking like it had any joints. But I like this design over the reimagined version, to be honest.
Yeah.
The reimagined version is like a poorly rendered reject from the Marvel movies.
Damn, oh, but listen to this. A life-size replica of the 1951 Gort is on display at the Science Fiction Museum and Hall of Fame in Seattle. Collectors can also own a screen-accurate Gort by visiting the Robot Man website, a company offering many different feature film and television prop robot replicas. Well, there's some product placement, I guess. Go to the Robot Man website to get your own Gort.
Mm-hmm. There's also a reference to robot jocks. Oh.
Nah.
I have not seen that movie yet, but that's one we can look up at the future.
Oh, also, while we're at it, I want to hear people just give suggestions in the comments of when this is edited by me, so don't expect anything too fancy. But just, I want to hear which movies you want to see next, and what you would have us improve.
Yes.
Just This is something new we're trying out. It's like this podcast-esque thing. We might have special guests on the show if you want to. Everybody's welcome to participate as long as you're not as long as you don't annoy me.
Yeah.
And don't disagree with me.
Yes, best place for us to meet is in that regard the Discord.
The Discord where a lot of unholy stuff happens and we stray from God further every day. I'll post a picture in it later, which is gonna solidify that statement. Once we know which ones that is.
Oh God, I'm enjoying my Perno now too much to consider it.
Yeah,
but yeah, Gort. I mean, such a simple design. Yet in the remake, they managed to screw it up.
I mean, of course they did.
Yes, well, in the film, in the original, in the 1951 version, Gort has a visor that is covering his eye.
Yeah.
And they didn't include the visor in the remake.
So he's just shooting all the time.
Yeah. It is one of those films. I mean, he's on screen right now, and he has a visor that can cover the eyes.
But could Gort technically be seen as one of the first giant movie robots, along with? What was that one really good animated movie with the giant robot where I'm sure everyone cried at the end? Like, literally everyone who watched it. If you didn't cry, you don't have a heart. Like, I already, my heart is a black hole, and I cried.
The Friendly Giant?
Let me see. Is it the Friendly Giant?
Yeah, the BF... The BFG or something? The Big Friendly Giant? Something like that?
No, not the Friendly Giant. That's that old movie. No.
You're not talking about Forbidden Planet, right?
No. Oh, is it Iron Giant? Yes, Iron Giant. If you didn't cry at the end of Iron Giant, you're not a being. You're an actual robot. The robot from Iron Giant had more heart than you do. If you did not cry at the end of this movie.
No, maybe maybe the Big Friendly Giant is a Dutch name.
Maybe. Like, have you watched this movie?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Wait, I'll send you an image.
It didn't leave much of an impression on me, but I might.
Yeah, I'll send you an image.
Yeah, I think I have, because like the story behind him was he was actually sent to destroy Earth, but he was damaged and then he became a
Yes, it's that one.
Yeah, so I think I did see it, but it did not leave much of an impression on me.
You have no heart.
Maybe, but it's we
You're
can
a
watch
monster.
it for the show at some point, I suppose.
You're a monster.
It does, yes. Well, maybe I am. Maybe I am just a heartless monster. Although I did get emotional when the robot in Mortal Engines died. So.
Oh wow, you got emotional at that one, but you got emotional at a mediocre CGI movie, but not at this masterpiece.
Now the robot was done very well.
Well, this one was done even better, you bastard.
Well, maybe because I compared him to the book version where he is not as interesting.
I mean, that's a fair point.
But no, I thought his death scene was done very interestingly.
Yes, but you have to rewatch this movie and shed at least one tear.
Maybe I will. The whole point of
And
one of the
then
reasons
suddenly-
of doing this show is to rewatch and revisit like all these old films, a lot of which I have not seen yet. Like
Yeah,
Robot
and
Jobs.
then
I
when
want
you
to do
finally
Robot
shed your
Jobs at some
first
point.
tear to this movie, just like with the Grinch, your heart will grow and grow and grow 3 times as big.
Yes, and then his heart grew 3 times. Well, figuratively speaking, of course.
Not in the animated movie.
We'll see.
Also, wait, when we're speaking of the Grinch, have you heard how Jim Carrey got through playing the Grinch? He had someone from the CIA, a torture expert, help him to get through it.
Seriously?
Yeah, like because every day it was like he said it was like being buried because
Because
had to put a full body makeup on,
yeah,
and it felt like being buried, and the hair was extremely itchy. And one of the tips that was given to him how to do it was smoking. So you had this Jim Carrey dressed as Grinch on set just smoking. I want to see an image of that.
yeah. I actually also now want to see Jim Curry as the Grinch smoking.
Like,
And just smoking plain cigarettes, or
yeah, just plain cigarettes.
no, that's kind of disappointing. But yeah, but yeah. What else do we have to talk about considering the Earth stood still? I give the original 51 version a solid recommendation.
As well, everyone should watch it. It's a classic.
Yeah, yeah. They don't make science fiction like this anymore. Not
Sadly.
that they don't make science fiction. I love The Expanse. I love Altered Carbon. Of course, both of those are based on books. Ignore the 2008 version.
Please do. Except for all the parts with John Cleese. Like, just illegally download the movie. It's alright. It's a crap movie. Illegally download it and just watch all the John Cleese bits.
I
And
do
that's
not
all you
endorse this message.
Yes.
But I would not pay for this movie either. It's a lot of I watched the first third of that film, and it was just a lot of people shouting.
Well, Bonster, tell me,
And-
how did you watch the movie?
The 2008?
Yes, how did you acquire it?
I found it under a chair.
Ah, yes, of course. Is the chair called the torrent chair?
It might be of the brand Torrent.
Ah, yes, of course.
Oh, this is, by the way, the cleaner's bill I mentioned.
Ah, yes, lovely.
So I actually
God.
filled it up. And it actually says the 18th of June, 1951.
Ah, lovely.
You know, in case you cared. But I thought it was a nice relic.
Yeah.
Also, I
good
took a lot of screenshots of all the cars in this film.
Yeah, I mean, they're all vintage cars, lovely cars.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, if the people saw those cars, they wouldn't want to defund the police. They would be like, no, we need to give the police more money so they can afford more such cars.
Yeah. And now we're getting political. Whoop-de-doo.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes,
but
let's
no,
get
but,
demonetized. Woo!
So let's see. But are there any things you want to
If we don't get any real suggestions for which movie we should watch next, we're gonna watch The Mask. Just gonna watch The Mask.
the mosque? We'll
Yes,
see.
with Jim Carrey. I need to laugh that hard again. Or we're gonna watch Ash, The Forces of Darkness.
Well, actually, one of our producers demanded we watch League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So there
Does
you go.
that producer have 3 middle names that coincidentally can be aligned
No,
as
no.
Adolf Hitler Jr.?
This is a different producer.
Who?
So, yeah.
What's their name? Give me their name. I shall find them and beg them not to.
I'll tell you who our producer is after the show. Of course, anyone can become a producer on this show by going to subscribestar-radio Retro Future. So, yeah.
You heard it. He's a sellout. Pay him enough, and he'll probably even make an OnlyFans account.
And no, seriously, if you want us to have better assets for the future shows, no,
So that I don't
we're
have to
gonna need
scream
your
around like I'm
support.
on meth.
And of course, you also get to decide what things we are going to talk about. Also, I love this image from the film, which is, I don't know, I don't think what you see on screen now is actual artwork from the promotion. This is an actual, someone actually made this especially just to put in the paper in the film. Very interesting. But yeah, I think we're how long are we in? We're almost 45 minutes in. I
Oh,
think
a new
that's
record
good
for me.
for a pilot. Do you have anything you want to say about this film?
About this film, well,
Yes.
there's not much left to say except watch it. Ignore the 2008 movie, accept the John Cleese bits.
I'm sure there's a clip compilation of John Cleese in.
Exactly, I'm sure there is. Like, it's John Cleese. If you don't like John Cleese, once again, you have no heart.
Yeah, but what, where in the hell does John Cleese fit into this film? Okay, I really need to I need to finish the 2008 film. But yeah, no, solid recommendation for me. It's a great relic from the past that needs to be preserved, and it would seem that there is a lot of yeah, it's still a well-known film among sci-fi enthusiasts for good
Yes.
reason.
And we should maybe give a bit more thought to the main message of the movie, which is peace and love and just being good to each other.
Yeah.
Forget it. We're humans, as if we'll
Yeah,
ever
well,
do it.
if we don't, a army of angry robots will come and wipe out
We've
humanity.
been doing it for the past 50 years. Look where we are. Nothing's changed.
Well, actually,
Look. If there was actual aliens that were actually going to do it, we would have been fucked in 2008 when the remake came out. Let's be honest. That movie breaks every premise there is.
well, we'll see. I'm a little bit more enthusiastic, but
God.
yeah, we are living in interesting times. That is one thing that is for sure. So,
We're living in-
folks, I hope you enjoyed this pilot. Vander already explained that we might make changes in the future. Maybe we'll also make it live streams in the future that are going to be edited. So please let us know your thoughts and also, of course, your movie recommendations.
Exactly. And also, tell us if you want these things to be shorter with more energy or longer with a bit more well thought through comments. Or do you want both? Just both. Just a very long video with a lot of energy and just two underpaid employees trying to get by in this rusty old theater which has keyboards under every fucking chair for some reason.
Yes. Well, that's just how people used to enjoy the movies before this whole
Yes,
place
exactly.
went to hell. You know, that's how it goes.
Yeah. Just
So yeah, I mean, how much percentage of this station has been explored? Like what, 15%, something like that?
yes,
So who
I know.
knows? What we'll see, what the scavengers will find on the other levels of this station.
I've heard there was a secret sex dungeon down there. Oh, kinky. I'm taking that part all for myself. Let's have fun down there.
Well,
Not you
and
and me.
with that, I think it's time to end the stream.
Yes, let's end this. I probably need to go have another coffee. My caffeine is wearing off.
Yes.
So, do you want to say the
Mushroom
catchphrase or should I do it?
You go ahead because it's the first episode.
All right, lovely. Well, as always, folks, thanks for being there, and don't forget to make it your way.
Good night.